meditation and AI is possible when looking to get clarity on some answers, some next steps. And I say this because I just happened to do this today. Now, the way that it came about, I did not expect it to happen that way, but that's how things happen. So, typically in the morning, I have my typical routine, right? This time around, for whatever reason, I felt that the morning was different. And usually when that happens, I have this reflex now to pause and just listen. And the clear message that came through was that today would be a day of reflection. So when that happens, typically it means that my usual routines and all the little steps that I take uh, are not happening that day, which is okay. Sometimes it happens. So as I listened to it, I thought, okay, well, great. Then then we're just gonna go with our flow, and eventually I went into uh, the meditation, knowing that up to that point, I had felt that despite the fact that I am on the right path, I'm doing, from an execution standpoint, everything that I needed to do. Something felt off, something was missing. So that's the kind of energy that I brought into the meditation. Again, not knowing what would happen. So going into that and going through the usual process that I go through, I was able to pay attention to what was coming to the surface, and I had some very clear answers. Some, you know, soul soul connected type answers where I pay attention to what my spirit, my soul is telling me, and I trust that is the right path. And so by the end of, and naturally I would jot things down, and by the end of the meditation, I thought, okay, well, that's the answer, that's the path to follow. Great. And I ended the at that point I ended the meditation because I felt that okay, I had all the answers that I was looking for. But as I was moving away from that meditative space, I also realized that you know what? I don't quite feel satisfied with the answer that I got. And the main reason is because again I had been feeling like something was off, despite the fact that there was a lot of truth in that, you know, soul-led answer that I got. I felt that something was still not quite right. So I realized that I needed to have some sort of brainstorm, maybe back and forth, and I thought to myself, well, let me reach out to my AI. I use Claude personally when it comes to things like that, and I said okay. And so I started that session with Claude, and I wanted to be very specific in terms of the kind of interaction that I wanted to have. So that's the prompt that I used, and I'm going to share it with you. Um, so the prompt that I used for Claude was, "You are a great advisor, objective one, and I would like you to help me understand maybe why I'm feeling the way that I am now, so I can feel satisfied with the next steps that I should take." And that was the prompt. And then I went into, well, how I went into the meditation, what it is that I felt, what it is that I had been feeling, in terms of the one thing that I felt was off and maybe was missing. And when I was done describing all of that situation, I shared it over with Claude, and then everything started from there. And so that's the most important thing when having this type of prompt. I always like to start off with framing the kind of identity I want Claude to have in whatever situation I'm presenting. So this way I'm able to get the type of back and forth and answer that I'm looking for. So uh, so that's how it led to this back and forth. And by the end of it, definitely got to a lot of clarity as to the reason why I felt like something was off. Long story short, I was essentially able to determine that I just needed to add one component to everything that I was doing right now. And it was just a matter of determining, and based on that, once I had that clarity, now I could also determine what was my next step so I could build momentum towards that as well. So if I had to break it down, the way that this whole process went for me by the end of this to feel like, okay, now feel things feel optimized and I feel good about it and I can actually take the next step to move in that direction. Was that at first I came in with feeling that something was off, not really sure why. Went into the meditation. I got some uh, answers that were the right ones from coming from my soul, my spirit. And despite the fact that these were right, and I could feel it in my bones that that was the right, these were the right answers, the right path. I still had to acknowledge, and that's the one thing that I believe out of this is very important to not dismiss sometimes the way that we feel when something is off, to be willing, as I as did and I have the habit of doing, to exploring why am I feeling a certain way. And when that happens, to be able to follow the crumbs, as I like to say. So this is what happened, and then it led me to, well, consult with Claude, set the right framework, and then go through the exchange in all honesty. And of course, in all honesty, being honest with myself as well. And by the end of that, a clear answer, some clarity was able to be found. And then the key thing was, well, once that clarity is there, to already think of that one next step to take to start building momentum so things could feel optimized again. So that's how I went about it, and that's why I believe that yes, AI has a place in this whole clarity process, if you want to put it that way. And when it comes to finding ways to make sure that our lives are optimized and we really feel good about all of the different pieces that are in play uh, and could be connected to make sure that we feel that things are not off or out of balance. So I hope that this was helpful to you. Let me know if you have any questions. As usual, I'm going to put this into a reference guide, a cheat sheet, so to speak, that is free to download in Soulwork, the community. So if you'd like to learn more about that, or if you have any questions, you can definitely go in Soulwork for that reason. But otherwise, yes, that's my take so far on how, in this case, it doesn't happen often. I've been integrated, the AI portion through this meditative process, at the tail end of it to be able to get more clarity and to be able to make the adjustments in my life so my life feels optimized. Okay, I hope you doing well. I will see you on the next one, but until then, have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.